So, it is the 14th of November. It has been 2 days since the launch of the PS5, a few days beyond that to the Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, and a few people have gotten their consoles, whether they got them on the launch day or before when the pre-orders were opening up. A lot of people didn't, and quite a few people are very upset about it. Some for, fair reasons, and then others, taking it that one step too far because, it's the internet, right? Now, I gotta come clean first. I was among one of the many on Thursday that tried to get a PS5, even though that on the podcast I have said a number of times I had no intention of getting one until at least June of next year, because I felt very disenfranchised after being kept in the dark so long without any information until the very, very last possible moment, which is what happened. However, I said on the VCR podcast a few days back when we were talking about the PS5 in preparation, I said that I was going to try and get one, not because that I fell for the hype train, not because that, I don't care if my word matters or not. It really just came down to this year has been so fucking horrible for me that if this is the one treat I get to myself this entire year, I will take it at this point, because Lord knows that, and I mean, a lot of you can probably agree with me on this one, 2020 has been a very, very garbage year. And I'd like to at least possibly end this year decently. So, trying to give myself something to look forward to. Now, I failed in trying to order one on Thursday because, like many other people, we fell victim to scalpers, bots, and the like. And I will say in advance, I'm one of the lucky ones. I have a friend of mine who ended up getting two during the pre-orders a month back. And they're willing to take one of them that they have and sell it to me for exactly what they paid for. Not everybody gets that luxury. And in fact, it's not even the one that I want. I wanted a digital one because, for me in Canada, $565 is certainly a little less of a pain to pay when you're not, making a shit ton of money than $711. But this version's a this version, a PS5 is a PS5. I'll take what I can get at this point. Now, aside from all that, there have been the reactions to what has gone on specifically the PS5, it seems. I don't know if I've seen nearly the amount of anger and memeing that on the Xbox Series X. I don't think so. I think I've probably seen more when it comes to the GeForce RTXs than anything else. But generally speaking, I understand that a lot of you are really upset, and I mean, I was still really upset just trying to get the digital one before I found out that, I could go in the direction of getting a console off a friend of mine. I get it. It's a pain in the ass, especially when it comes to bots and scalpers taking up most of them and selling them for like double the price, which that's a whole other conversation. I don't understand why anybody, even if you can afford it, why you have to create this extra black market of $1,500 PS5s because you just can't be patient, or because your kid can't be patient if you're a parent. I'm sorry, but in my personal opinion, and to put this to bed, I don't care if you can afford it, and I don't care if you don't care if other people, or if you're allowing people to really use some shady tactics to make money. I don't care if you don't care. I'm going to call you out on it regardless, whether I can or not. I should or not, I should say. Because generally speaking, this is what causes this stuff. This is what causes tickets to be sold after they've been bought out by bots to tens of hundreds. This stuff shouldn't be happening. When I see pictures of people being like, oh, look at me, and they have 20 friggin' consoles in their basement ready to go, fuck you. Like, I don't care what the excuse is at this point. I don't care that you can do it. Yeah, you can do it. Doesn't mean I'm not going to call you an asshole. Or if you're the person that's buying these $1,500 consoles that are normally $500, I'm still allowed to call you a sucker and a stupid piece of shit. So, it is what it is. But when it comes to people who got really upset, and I'm not talking those who are just like, man, fuck bots and scalpers. I'm talking the people that were pointing fingers at not even the retailers, but at Sony. Like it's Sony's fault. Believe me, like I said at the top of this, I totally understand people that are upset, because we all wanted one, and we didn't get one. Not because we didn't wait in line, but because the way internet systems work on retailer websites don't really support those who do it fairly. They support bots who can figure out ways through the system. And they go with bots that are okay, that, will just buy several in a row, and no one seems to care. Not to mention that there are sites out there like Amazon and eBay and the like that will allow these sales of consoles at much larger prices because they don't care. They make their cut. But for those that are going back to Sony as the scapegoat for this, I'll ask you one question. Aside from having their own website and selling every single console that they produce, and do it the right way, whether it's with CAPTCHAs or whatever the like, to try to avoid bots and scalpers, buying up a shit ton. What has Sony done to cause this? They produced a product. That's it. They produced a product. Now, if Sony owned Walmart, EB Games, or GameStop, depending on where you are, or any other retailer that didn't take the proper steps to put in things like CAPTCHAs to try to reduce bot covering, and the one, like, a lot of websites didn't do the one per person. So what do you do? So what does Sony do? I don't know what they do. I don't seem to understand what a company can do about that. I've seen people tell me, oh, they can tell Walmart that they have to do this or else they won't sell their consoles. Are you telling me that Sony, a company that is just looking to make profits, is not going to use the biggest retailer in the world? It's like if you are a major venue for concerts, stand-up, like plays and like, it's like saying, hey, you shouldn't be selling tickets to Ticketmaster unless they do this. Ticketmaster is literally the biggest seller of tickets. Why would you not use them? And it's the same goes with Sony. Even if you actually do believe that Walmart is a horrible company and you don't like working with them, if you're Sony, you still do it because it's guaranteed sales. You'll get the money. You'll get the sales done. If you put it on some random ass website nobody's ever heard of, what's the chances that some of those consoles don't get sold? Now, in this day of the internet, it might be more possible to find it because people just go scavenging for these things, and you see all these threads on Reddit or Twitter or whatever else where they just find these crazy hidden things. Sure. But generally speaking, the best business practice, as we live here in this capitalist structure that, I would like to, be taken down or changed quite a bit, which is a whole nother conversation. But in this current societal setup of business, you would be stupid not to use Walmart. Even if you ask them, I should say, can you please take steps to reduce bots, reduce scalping? And if Walmart says no, because quite frankly, Walmart doesn't give a shit. Walmart doesn't care. I've worked with Walmart. Walmart could not care less about a few things going wrong because there are so many other transactions that are working perfectly fine. And they're making so much money hand over fist that a few angry people doesn't mean shit to them. That's the reality. So Walmart has no obligation to say yes to that. They can just say, no, fuck off, we're doing it our way, which is not doing anything differently. And is Sony really going to say no to that? No, they won't. Should they? Maybe. But if you're a businessman, why would you do that? Walmart, like I said, biggest retailer in the world. You're going to use them. It's just an inevitability. Now, if we're talking, I don't know, here in Canada we have the Superstore, which is a grocery chain, but they do have electronics and stuff. If Superstore said no, you could probably say no to them more than you could say no to Walmart. Or you could say no to Target or EB Games or Best Buy. Like, those are big chains that you want your console in those stores. So I don't understand why people think that because Walmart or EB Games, etc., didn't take the proper steps to reduce bots, scalpers, etc., why is Sony complicit in that? It's not Sony's problem. It's not Sony's decision to make. Sony can't force any of these stores to do that. Now, don't get me wrong. There's been a lot of good memes, a lot of great memes, actually. But generally speaking, you know, I have to zero in on the people that are blaming, that are pointing fingers, that aren't just going and saying, okay, we really wish we could do something about bots and scalpers. We really wish that, there was a better way to do this. If there was a place in line, one per console. Like, there's a lot of ideas we could come up with. But just getting angry, pointing fingers, and saying, oh, I'm never going to buy from these people again, because it's the internet, everybody does that. That's not the way to do it, and that doesn't make the situation any better. And if you're just going to speak out of anger, well, you're certainly not going to get a PlayStation any faster that way. And we're not going to get anything better that way, because what inclination do people have to make better change if they're too busy spending all this money on PR trying to keep you happy? They don't have time to look at solutions because they're too busy trying to play damage control. Like I said, I was pretty upset by the end of Thursday that, I spent a lot of time trying and didn't work. And it is frustrating when you know that you're doing everything right and it doesn't matter. Now, for all I know, I might not have just gotten it just because there was such sheer volume from regular people, but more often than not, you would assume that bots and scalpers had a piece in that, if not a bigger percentage, because bots obviously are going to do a much better job at getting a hold of something than you will, because your reflexes aren't the same as a computer's. But when I left Thursday night, before that I, knew that I was going to get a console early, or console through a friend, I should say, I was annoyed. And I was sad because I really wanted this. Because, like I said from the very beginning, I wanted to treat myself and give myself something in this dog shit of a year. But didn't happen. Yeah, I was a little bit annoyed. But I didn't suddenly want to turn around and go and point fingers at a company that has nothing to do with it. If anything, I should have gone to Walmart or EB Games or The Source or Best Buy and say, like, guys, your site's fucking garbage and couldn't handle this load. Like, what the hell, man? You should have been prepared for this. That's a different story. But to go and point fingers, to go and boycott, and to go and be like, I'm surprised I haven't seen stories, honestly, on Reddit of people sending death threats to Sony representatives. I'm surprised I haven't seen that yet. I wouldn't be shocked if I did. Because this is the age where if a game gets delayed 4 more weeks, death threats get sent. So, I'm actually surprised that hasn't happened yet, to my knowledge. Just chill, guys. You're not the only one. Hell, I've even seen people complaining that, oh, my console didn't come on launch day and it's going to be a couple days late. So fucking what? I'm sorry, so what? In this age of the internet, in this age of all these streaming services and all this other stuff that you can distract yourself with, what's a couple days? I know that we're all miserable because 2020 has been an absolute fucking horrendous year for all of us, but that doesn't mean that you suddenly get to go and spew your fucking hatred for a company all of a sudden just because you didn't get what you want. Like you're a spoiled brat in that. What's that fucking show where it's about Sweet 16, like birthday parties, and they get mad because they got a Mercedes instead of a Ferrari? Like, Jesus Christ. Can we, like, tone it down a little bit? Either you didn't get the console you wanted, or you didn't get it as soon as you wanted it. I don't know when I'm going to get mine. I don't know really much of anything at this point, but patience isn't that difficult. And how do I know this? Because we've been in a pandemic for almost a full year now. And we've been in lockdown. I've been very patient in not seeing a lot of friends. It's because, again, patience isn't actually that hard to have. But clearly we live in this age where everybody wants everything now and they don't care how. And they don't care about any decency and about any honest respect for the people that are trying their best to do what they can do to get these things into your house as quickly as possible. But keep in mind, how many people in the world do you think wanted one? And how many were available? This is the first run. There's going to be plenty of time in the next 12 months. Well, I guess 14 months if you even want to go all the way to the end of 2021. It's going to be plenty of time. There'll be more in stock. You'll get one eventually. And if not, Well, you're just going to have to hang in there, won't you? It's really not that difficult to wait. I could have waited to June and longer than that if I had to. If I legitimately didn't have a bad enough year that I needed, at least some positivity, I could have waited no problem, even if I was trying the entire time. It's frustrating, sure. But it's not something to get so worked up about that you're spending hours and hours on social media complaining about it. Find something else to keep yourself busy and wait for the next round. And maybe this one will work. Maybe it won't. And then you try the next one after that. You will eventually get what you want. So just hang in there.